I know. And
I
actually,
loved that.
when you watch the trailer that has the deleted scenes in it from the supermarket in the first film, it looks
I am
identical
about to just
to.
break into Disney's vault myself and search for that footage.
I think they're gone. I just think they're lost. I think we would have seen them by now had it not been the
Like, they
20th
did
and the
it for the
25th.
trailer! They had to have
I
used
know.
it!
And I was looking into this again, and it's an actual fact that in 1994, if you paid for Hocus Pocus on pay-per-view, it had the swimming pool scene in it, and it had the
Are you kidding me?
no. If you look back, I'll show you. I'll send you
Alright,
links
this is an
afterwards.
outcry to anyone on the internet who may have done the illegal thing back then, and when you paid for something on pay per view, you video recorded it onto a VHS. If you have a copy of the pay per view version of Hocus
1994.
Pocus, of the 1994 Hocus Pocus pay per view release, do the world a favor and find a way to get that stuff on the internet. Do the world a favor. I will plug you all over the place. You wonderful human being if you have it. Sorry.
I'll send you the link to it's like blu-ray.com blog or like something like that, and there's a guy on there messaged in 2012 saying, I have a VHS of the 1994 pay-per-view Hocus Pocus, and I can confirm it has a scene in it where they're in the swimming pool and they push Winnie into the swimming pool. And he said there's also a scene in it where Billy's on top of a hill and Winnie flies down and steps off her broom and speaks to Billy, and that's the scene where she says, "Oh, what a stench" or something. Um, so there's two scenes in the pay-per-view at least. So yeah, but then
Hey
he says in
guy,
the
whoever
comments
you are.
he says in the comments in 2012, I don't know how to upload this for you all to see. And there's so many people like replying saying, send me the VHS in the mail and I'll do it. And like, but I followed
I've
the
got a
chain.
cousin who can do these things. Like, he has done it with all our home movies, he has done it with
Yes.
all kinds of stuff like that. Guy, whoever you are, I can make it happen. Please. Because then we actually have definitive proof that, yeah, Allison's descended from a good witch.
It's so weird because obviously we've spoken about spin-offs, we've spoken about sequels. People have mentioned how great it would be to have a prequel TV show with
Yeah.
the young girls.
I'm still pulling for that.
Yes, me too, but everyone, a reminder that this poster is fake.
Yes, yes, I'm gonna put it between the two of us. This is fake. This is fake. Please stop sharing this to me. Stop sharing it to him.
Yeah.
It's not real. It keeps saying October 2024. It is October 22nd, people. And y'all are still out here sharing it and believing this is real. Stop it. Get some help. Just stop it.
What she said, definitely. Like,
I'm sorry, I get so ticked off because
so
I have
annoying.
so many people sending this to me going, oh my god, did you see this? I'm like, oh my god, did you know it's not real? I love how much we laugh when we're together. Oh my god.
I know, I know.
But I'm
Oh
like,
my god, that's
stop
so
sharing
funny.
this to me for the love of God. Like, when it first dropped, all of my Facebook friends were tagging me in it. All of them.
Yep.
So I went on record and this is how much text I left in my post. I basically told them, this is not real. It is probably AI generated. If you want to keep up with what's actually real in this fandom, ask me. Watch my YouTube channel. I am your best source
I don't think there's
for this.
any way they would manage to film a 10-episode prequel series that releases now without you knowing, like...
Exactly.
Come on.
Without me or you knowing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We would both be on record going, yes, this is real, if it was real!
And I think people just need to stop and take a minute and just be like, they've used a photo from HP2. If this was an original program, they would use an original photo.
It would be a new poster.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
speaking of posters, did you like that one that I sent you that people were spreading? Oh my god, that was egregious!
AI,
I'm gonna put that one up too.
AI is bad.
It is a detriment on our society.
Oh my god.
Well, the thing was, my own mother tagged me in that. And I was like,
and bless her,
Mom.
she probably thought, oh, I have a scoop. I have like, she probably thought she was like.
I was like, this is the most egregious use of AI I've ever seen. Yeah. Because if you look, one of the fake witches, and I'm editing me is probably pointing an arrow at it. That's Ginny Weasley. From Harry Potter. It's Ginny Weasley.
But someone
are so bad.
Someone out there's made that. Who made that? I want to know. Get in touch.
I don't know. Come
Why
forward. Come forward. Show yourself.
Oh god.
You've provided us with quite a bit of laughter.
Yeah.
And she's just trying to bring us some serotonin and dopamine every single day. Meanwhile, we're over here going, what does this mean? Losing our minds.
I'm gonna edit just that moment of you and use that anytime something happens. What does this mean? What does this mean?
That's okay, go ahead. I'm a meme. I am a walking meme. Another limitation to the spell is that bigger spells, like the spell for reuniting, can only be done with a coven.
Only a witch and her coven can manifest what is written.
Yes, the Magicae Maxima can make you stronger and give you all the knowledge, but you still need to have a coven for certain spells to work properly, or at least that's what's hinted at. So when it comes to spells that involve the chant, the Icida Capita Melica Mystica, it's probably safe to say you might not be able to use those, unless the Magicae Maxima overrides the need for the chant, which doesn't really make a lot of sense considering Winifred had to have the new kids do the spell for her. But it could also pertain to spells that would reverse the sacrificial part of the power spell's requirement. If the user could use the spell for reuniting by themselves, then what would Magicae Maxima have to gain from this? Basically, I think it eradicates all hope of fixing your mistake, so you're stuck with your decision. So you might be able to use some of those bigger spells, but a lot of them are going to be off limits, and it's the one thing you're going to want to use, so you're stuck with what you did. Even Mother said that anyone who used it was doomed, and what she meant was doomed to a life of loneliness. We're waiting on the good story to show up, which I'm sure it will, because Jen is involved. Jen is the head writer again, and she knows what she's doing. A lot of people gave her a lot of flack for how 2 turned out. I really don't think that was justified. I think some of her stuff may have needed a little tweak, like a little, just tighten the screw a little bit, but not a whole lot. Maybe just like get rid of some of the rusty parts that didn't need to be there. You know what I'm talking about. I don't even have to say their names. But just a little tweaking would have made it better, and I think she has unjustly been thrown under the bus for this one, just like, that story sucked. It really didn't. Like, it really didn't. We just didn't have enough time to do everything we needed to do. We didn't have time to world build this time around. Like the first time, Hocus Pocus 1, we had time to world build. We had world building time. 2, we didn't have as much world building time, because we hit the ground running. Which, while was smart, because we spent more time with the Sanderson sisters, it also hurt us a little bit, because we didn't feel, a lot of people, their biggest complaint is the new kids, and I take issue with the new kids on the fact that, like, I didn't love them, but I don't hate them. Like, I don't hate them, I think they're fine, but they're just fine. That was the problem. They're fine. They're only fine. Except for Izzy. Izzy's awesome. But I'll defend Izzy till the day I die. There's things that, while she is such a strong writer, I don't want her to fall prey to, and that's the Once Upon a Time syndrome. I'm calling it the Once Upon a Time syndrome for a reason, because back during the height of its popularity, Once Upon a Time had a profound effect on other stories, whether people want to admit that or not. And the Once Upon a Time effect basically was everyone was suddenly related to everyone, and characters came out of the blue with little to no explanation as to why they existed, and suddenly they exist, and now we have these characters, and we really didn't need these characters, but they're related to this character, and it just goes on. That happened a lot during the height of Once Upon a Time's popularity. It's like fanfiction got on cocaine and ran off. Like, it was just like, it did a line and it started moving. But, not to mention a few of his living children's children going missing mysteriously. Can't imagine who'd be behind that. I just don't know who'd be behind that part and who would have it out for John Pritchett enough to, you know, do something like that. But anyway, you know how much on this channel I have griped, I have groaned, I have moaned, I have just hated the cartoon Sanderson sisters, the animated Sanderson sisters. You know how much I don't like them. Now, you can imagine my surprise when I opened this book and we got to the character descriptions of each one of them, and I saw this. Is there a reason we're not using this art style? Like, what? I'm sorry. This is like quality of life improvement by like 16-fold. Look at this! And tell me this isn't better. Look me in the eye and tell me that art style isn't better. You can't. You can't look me in the eye and tell me this, that the old cartoon character's better than this. Do it. I dare you. You can't do it. So you get that with Winnie, and then you turn the page, and Mary's, she even writes next to her name, hello. I'm like, that's a very Mary thing to do. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Whew. So, one thing I learned from this book, and it's why, I think it's one of the reasons that I was like, oh no, she actually is my spirit animal. Mary is depressed. She is depressed. Here's an example. Mary Sanderson, middle sister. Mary the malicious. Born round and pink, grumbling, whining babe, crying out for milk, brown locks like mud of pond, nostrils that flare, stuck in shadow of sisters who don't care. And underneath, she writes the equivalent of a meme! It's fine. I'm fine. My sisters love me. She's literally the dog in the burning room meme, guys. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm like, I say that when I'm very clearly not fine. And then, we go back to the Billy thing. Page 210. Whew. For Curse of Llama. This is where Yzma got her potion. It's literally a llama spell. You turn people into llamas. This is what happened to Cusco. And I kind of love that just a little too much. Winifred writes, I have learned Sarah has been seeing my dear Billy in secret. I would use this curse to bring forth my revenge, but I do not think it would be punishment enough. Now, she didn't specify who she was going to use that on. She was very general about the whole thing. If you catch my drift. Spell to drain a witch of magic. It's an emerald flame candle. That would be a great twist for the third movie. That's how they end up defeating Mother Witch. That would be very, very good. Very good twist. That's not what we're here for, though. That's the precursor. Whew. Remember how I said a little something about Sarah being a little shady earlier? So, after we read the whole thing about the spell to drain a witch of the magic, Winifred writes, "Those Trollymog sisters of mine would dare not attempt this. Then again, they lack the power to conjure any spell." And Mary writes, "We would never, Winnie, if I am not mistaken, Sister Sarah." Sarah doesn't say a word. She doesn't say a word. Not a thing about that. She has nothing to say. And I'm just like, oh my god. Sarah was fixing to shank her sister. She was fixing to take Winifred out. That's what I got from it anyway. Sarah was about to go rogue. She was about to go rogue, people. That would have... Yay. Winifred yells at Mary because they let Sarah get away with their ingredient, and Mary yells back that Sarah never would have done that had she been treated better. Winifred is shocked when Mary raises her voice back and is struck speechless when Mary confesses that she is sick and tired of running interference between the two of them. She's tired of being in the middle of all of their silliness. She needs a break. She wants this over. She asks Winifred again to tell her what happened with Billy Butcherson, and Winifred again tells the story of the vision. She swears this is what happened. She was told in that vision by Mother that Billy was going to expose them as witches after taking advantage of Sarah to get back at Winifred for kissing him as a boy. Their selfless act of saving Salem turned their souls back to the light, and they're given a second chance to make things right. Now, we fast forward to an epilogue where they are back living in the cottage, but they've converted it into a magic school for blossoming witches and wizards, the Sanderson Academy of Magic. Sarah teaches enchantments, Mary gives them lessons on flying on many a different device, should the fancy strike them, and Winifred teaches potion lessons. Gilbert is still running his souvenirs out of the cottage, and he couldn't be happier working with the three ladies he's looked up to his entire life. Becca, Izzy, and Cassie help around the place when they aren't busy with homework or school, and they get a couple magic lessons on the side for free. And Max and his wife Allison bring their magical daughter to have some lessons. Danny is a teacher there too. She teaches young witches and wizards how to defend themselves from the dark arts through lessons on anti-magic. As lessons end for the day, the Sanderson sisters wave their charges off from the front steps of their cottage with bright smiles, and we see the book that opened in 1993, Hocus Pocus, close on their story. So I never had an official track list for the names of the songs, which kind of was a bummer, because back then maybe I would have realized that Sarah's song is not in fact called Come Little Children, it's in fact called Garden of Magic, and I had to learn that from another book called Hocus Pocus, The Thinking Fan's Guide to the Halloween Cult Classic or something like that. It's a very long title, but I got it over there, and I just remembered I was reading the book, and I got to the part about music, and I was like, oh yeah, these songs are... What the heck is Garden of Magic? And then it went on to say, this is what Sarah was singing, and I went... Wait. What? What? It's not called... That's not its name? Its name isn't Come Little Children? What is happening? I mean, I think I went into a crisis for a minute, because I was like, my whole life is a lie! Hey, Yoda, You could not have picked a worse franchise to make a fake teaser of. The Hocus Pocus fandom has trust issues that run a mile deep, if not more, and you're just making it worse. We had been teased for years about a 2, and when we finally got it, it took the trailers coming out and cast interviews for us to go, oh, it is real. It's why would you do this to us? What did we do to you? Most of these shows and films are rated PG to PG-13, and that sort of rating and tone is needed for a Hocus Pocus prequel series. It's the one thing a lot of people complained about with the second movie. It just wasn't as dark in tone as the first one. And as much as I love Hocus Pocus 2, I do agree with that. It wasn't as dark as the first one. The stakes didn't feel as life-threatening, and the good guys were all just a bit too calm for what was happening around them. After a restless night for Becca and her friends, they meet up at the magic shop, hoping they find Gilbert in one piece. What they find is an absolute mess. Winifred is tearing the place apart, searching for something. Gilbert is trying to pick up behind her as she mutters to herself. The girls can tell he wants to say something about the mess, but to be fair, what she was rifling through was her own property. Book floats out of Becca's backpack and hovers next to the girls as they look at the scrambling Gilbert. What is going on? I have no idea. She's been at this since 2 in the morning. No idea what she's looking for or anything. Just, I haven't slept in almost 24 hours, but hey, it's fine. I'm still alive. Quiet, you idiot. I need to concentrate. On what? You're just throwing things on the floor! I have to find my ingredients. Whoa. Ingredients for what? Cassie asked hesitantly. A candle! A candle can bring them back! Winifred shouts, tossing more stuff out of the way. Becca shares a look with Book, who shakes himself as if to say no. Winifred, that won't work, she says. I can make it work! The Magicae Maxima made me all-powerful. I can create a black flame candle to bring them back. I can do it! My advice to those who didn't like 2, but are cautiously optimistic about 3, and to anybody else who's excited about 3, and to myself, because I'm scared, keep your expectations low. Pessimism saves lives, just so you know. Too many people were expecting in 1993, in 2022, and guess what, guys? That didn't happen, and it won't happen. That ain't happening anymore. Things have changed. You will not be getting 1993, even if this comes out in 2027. Because it's not 1993 anymore, and movie companies have changed how they do things and how they cater to people, much to the chagrin of a lot of the movie-going audience. But that's okay. Progress is a good thing. It's a good thing, just so everyone knows. There are some things that, yes, I wish they would kind of leave the way they are. But other things that people comment about being too woke, those are good things. When they're done right. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And I've seen a lot of wrong ways to do it rather than the right way to do it. A good example of a right way to do it, watch How to Get Away with Murder. That's the right way to do it. A lot of this, and I mean a lot of this, rides on scripts. Which one's the best? Does this work with the other 2 movies? Will fan service, this is a big one, I'm going to pause on this one. Will fan service be more prevalent or less so than the second movie? Here's the thing about fan service. It can be a good and a bad thing. It can be a good and a bad thing. Some fan service is fun. I have enjoyed some fan service. I enjoyed a lot of the fan service in Hocus Pocus 2, but there were points where I do think it was excessive. I do think it was excessive sometimes. Like the little touches in Gilbert's shop where they had t-shirts. That was great. The costume contest, honestly, that was fun. I really liked that. That was for us. That was for the fans. But it was also kind of like, in the first movie, everybody was terrified of those 3 coming back, and now we're celebrating these child-eating witches? I don't know. In-universe, it makes less sense. Out here, makes perfect sense. But in-universe, makes a little less sense. But I did like the costume contest. I think it's great. But there were some people that were kind of like, this is a little too meta. So, I don't know. I think there were points in the second one where the fan service was just a little too much. And we might need to pull it back just a little bit. My brother, it broke his brain when Winifred flew up to the window of the boys on the sofa watching the scene from the first movie of Gary Marshall and Penny Marshall. That blew his gourd, and not in a good way. He was like, I don't like that. He's like, things have gone too meta for me. But here's the thing. This whole video I've said, I am scared about a third movie. I'm scared. I'm very scared. I'm very scared for a reason. Do not Toy Story 4 this. I know, I hear you. There's a lot of you out there going, I liked Toy Story 4. That's great, I'm glad you did. But, in terms of a definitive ending, 3 was better. 3 had the definitive ending. We were done. We didn't need to see what happened after that. It was over. They had a new kid. It was great. Don't Toy Story 4 this and give me an epilogue that nobody asked for. Don't do it. I'm terrified that that perfect definitive ending that the Sanderson sisters got in Hocus Pocus 2 will be reversed, and I'm gonna regret crying tears on the internet. Very heavy tears when that happened. Because I regretted shedding tears when I saw Toy Story 4. Is this also my way of making myself feel better 2 years later for the whole Trask is the villain and then he actually wasn't thing? Maybe. It might be. Kinda. But let me have this. It was therapeutic. I had to come to terms with it. I feel better now that I did this. At least I can think that his descendants got dumber over time and we ended up with our candy apple idiot. So, this is also one of the only movies, and I just realized this as I was writing this script. This is one of the only movies that doesn't involve some stupid third act breakup where the heroes fall apart and go their separate ways right before the villains come back to end everything. If anything, the third act of Hocus Pocus brings the heroes closer together, which is, again, rare. Disney villains like Scar, Jafar, Ursula, and Cruella are iconic, yes. But they are not nearly as iconic as the Sanderson sisters. Yes, I went there, I bought property, fight me! The merchandise from their movies features them, but their heroes are a little more prevalent in the marketing. The Sanderson sisters, however, they are on every piece of merchandise in existence with the exception of ones that are specifically tailored to Billy and Binks. So I'm going to go ahead and get the ball rolling with what I would consider the worst song on this soundtrack at number 9 with Planet Claire. You ever just hear the start of a song, groan, and immediately skip it? Yeah, that's what I do every time Planet Claire comes on. Alright, here's where things got hard. Cracking my top 2. We all knew the Sanderson sisters songs would fall in the top 2, and it was difficult for me to make a choice on where to rank them in terms of the top 2. So coming in at 2 is One Way or Another. So while I was flipping back and forth between the two songs, I figured it out, and One Way or Another ended up in the second seat. Don't even know how to feel right now. I don't even know how to feel right now. Like, you ever think one thing for like years and years of your life and suddenly you're proven wrong, like you've been singing the wrong words to a song for a really long time, or didn't know the title of a song correctly? Well, I am here to tell you that the dead man's toes, they weren't actually toes.
What?
You heard me. They weren't actually toes. I figured this out today as I was scrolling on my phone, and this wonderful article popped up called Top 10 Weird Mushrooms, and I was like, well, this will kill a few minutes. This'll kill a few minutes, why not? And at the very top was a picture of a fungus that is growing out of a piece of dead wood. And it looked like toes. And the name was Dead Man's Toes. And I was like, huh, well that's neat. I wonder if this is where they got the idea for Hocus Pocus. Oh my god. My question is, what do you remember about the first time you saw Hocus Pocus, and how did it make you feel in that moment?
Yeah, well, that's an awesome story, and thank you for sharing yours. I was 7 years old in 1993, a long time ago, and I lived in a really small town. It was actually a historical village, so really cool, and it had that really, Salem vibe to it. We were next door at our neighbor's house in October of 93, and they didn't really have any kids around, our age, so my siblings and I, we were just sitting in their living room, and one of the neighbors, they came into the living room and they were like, oh, we've got this, we've got some chips and some snacks, and we have a Halloween movie for you. And I was already loving Halloween at 7, obviously, at that time, and they said it was Hocus Pocus. Now, I'd never seen anything advertised on TV or anything like that. Living in a small town, there was no cable or anything, and Disney did play on Sundays, but I never noticed, to my memory, to my recollection, of any advertisements for Hocus Pocus. So when he put it on, it was all about witches and this witch house in the middle of the woods back in the 1600s. I was captivated from the very moment. And at that age, I think I was already in love. Well, I knew I was already in love with witches. I had read a book prior to that, which I can talk about later. So I was just hooked, and it gave me goosebumps when I saw it. And I really felt like the 90s were, and the 80s and the 90s were a special era. I feel almost like the last special era of Halloween. And it really produced...
Oh, I think I agree with that statement. And I was born in 96, so I came in on the tail end of that goodness. Speaking of imagination and creativity, the reason you are here is because you have an amazing project in the works for the Sanderson Museum of Witchcraft coming to life, which I am over the moon about this being a thing. I'm so excited about this. I love this idea. I don't know why no one has come up with this before. I'm glad that you have, because man, we need this. There are a ton of traveling exhibits out there. Why can't Hocus Pocus have one?
Exactly right.
What was the first prop that you fell in love with from Hocus Pocus? If you had to pick one that just hit you instantly.
Wow. Well, you mean from the movie or from my collection?
From the movie.
From the movie. Oh, man. Well, it's so hard because there's 3 main props that, I wanted so bad. And I think it would be an equal 3 tie between the spell book, the black ink candle, and its stand. Not just the candle, but the stand.
Oh, for sure.
Right? And then the cauldron. It would be a hard tie between those 3 for sure.
I always had a big thing for their unique broomsticks. I loved their broom designs. I thought that was just so fun to see how different they looked. Sarah's double brush head to this day is one of the coolest broom designs I've ever seen in anything magical cinema. I have to know, how and when did you come up with this idea for this exhibit?
Well, the funny thing is, it started basically after I watched the movie, and I just wanted to live in this set, the Sanderson house. I really, Max's house was cool, and Allison's house was cool, but what I wanted was the Sanderson house so bad, with all the the glowing candles and all of the the ancient the ancient furniture and stuff in there. And so every Halloween came around, I could get a chance to watch Hocus Pocus. I was trying to play it over and over again, and when it came on TV to capture my mind of what it looked like. And so, as you know, like, the internet wasn't really big back in the 90s and the early 2000s, so you really relied on what you could see on TV. And so we moved out of this small little hamlet, little village, into a hamlet, actually. It was a little bit north of the area I lived in, and it came with property. We didn't really have a lot of property in Queensboro, where I was from, and so we moved north, and we had, we moved on to our family's land, which is around like 480 acres. So lots of woods. It used to be farmland. And so I went into the woods, and I was building myself a witch house, inspired by...
I love that! I don't know if that means we're working on the script still. 2 years or a year later. Yeah, a year later, almost 2 years later, because there's only 3 months left of 2024. How's that for you? I don't know if they're still working on the script, or if the script is done and they're working on negotiations with actors. I don't know nothing else. I got nothing. I got a whole lot of nothing. But in other news, honestly really exciting and a little bit more exciting news, personally, because we actually have something to go on here, is Jason Marsden, aka Thackeray Binks. No, not that one. The voice. The one who was Binks through most of the movie, has come out saying that he and a team are working on a animated, wait for it, Thackeray Binks series.
Yo!
I cannot explain how excited I am about this prospect. Here he is with who I am assuming is a new witch. Probably a good witch, if I have to guess. Yo. Hang on. Think about this. What if this witch is Allison's ancestor, and we finally get confirmation that Allison is the descendant of a witch? What? How good would that be? I mean, and then this dude, I don't know who this dude is, but I'm intrigued.
You know my name. My loss. My curse.
What the heck? Magic portal!
But that's only the start of my story.
But, bruh, Jason gets this man an animated series.
My loss. My curse. No! But that's only the start of my story.
Ireland. Oh, there's Kara. Oh my gosh. Oh, there's our bad guy. Ooh, there's some monsters. Werewolves. I told y'all it was a vampire! Oh, wow.
My name is Thackeray Binks, and this is my cursed life.
Yo! Oh, bruh. Yo. Yo! I cannot wait for this. Oh my god. They better freaking win. They better win this pitch. They better get it. I'm gonna be so upset if they don't. And he is a useless plot device. He could have been way more interesting if his entire arc didn't revolve around a friggin' candy apple. He could have been so much better as a secret villain. Yes, I'm still salty about that. He would have been so much better. Or if he'd been more of a present authority figure like the Denizens were, it might be different. But he wasn't. This character, I don't even know where to begin. Why is he here? Why is he in Hocus Pocus 2? What purpose did he serve? He's Cassie's boyfriend. And he's dumb. And that's it. He's Cassie's boyfriend. And he's dumb. Those are his only two characteristics. The heck is he even in this movie for?